Hezbollah as a Shia power in Lebanon. The Sunnis no longer are the controllers of the Arab world, and this is what the Saudi interest is. And so, and we see them stirring up because they have backed what they call jihadists in Iraq, in Syria, and in Lebanon. And we see today, every day, horrible attacks being conducted mostly by Sunnis against Shia in Iraq. That's our legacy there. And now we have a president who is serious and was serious about launching an attack on Syria as kind of a punishment, as a shot across the bows. But what has stopped him from doing that are two things. One, the decision by David Cameron, the British parliamentarian, the British Prime Minister, to bow and accept the vote of the Parliament in Britain not to attack and join the United States is a major blow against the United States of historical proportions. Because Britain, despite our long, our Revolutionary War, Britain has been America's closest ally in its wars. And with Britain saying, wait a minute, and Cameron recognizing that the British people and their representatives do not want to go to war in Syria after they were lied to about Iraq, President Obama was about to do that, except with the British doing that, he's now put in a very uncomfortable position. And then last Wednesday, he got a letter signed by 116 members of Congress, 98 Republicans and 18 Democrats, that implied that if he went ahead with this attack, violating the War Powers Act, and which would be unconstitutional, it was quite likely that they would bring him up for impeachment proceedings in the floor of Congress. And so today or yesterday, Obama decided, he said he made the decision, but he decided that he was going to take the decision to Congress, in fact. And today he's put out, they have put out he sent a letter to Congress containing a resolution asking for the authorization to make a limited attack on Syria. And that will be debated when members of Congress come back. Right now, according to the New York Times, if a vote was taken in Congress, he would not get the authorization.
So, Roseanne, let me ask you, are you for or against a strike in Syria? That's the question. I'm asking Roseanne.
Oh.
Okay, I know your position,
That's
Jeff.
what I wanted to get to, but, let me answer it this way. I do want to discuss that because that's what's at issue. But the other side, the reason we're hearing that they're considering doing that is because civilians, women and children, are being gassed with sarin gas, which, I mean, is the same kind of gas, even, more productive in its horror than as the gas that Nazis used on people in Europe. And we, as a human race, said we would never let that happen again. But boy, we look the other way so often when big money is involved. And I mean, I don't know, maybe this is just the unraveling of all of that, because I mean, that kind of stuff can only happen for so long, I would hope. But yeah, I'm for the United States for once. This would be the real shocking thing, for once in a long time, that it would act with its military on behalf of the helpless and the people who are being gassed.
But the point, one of the things I didn't mention, is that the United States has not presented any evidence to the world that Syria did it. In fact, their intelligence comes from Israel having monitored, saying, quote, Israelis say they monitored Syrian officials discussing the attack, and then they sent this to the United States, and on last Monday, although it was not reported in the U.S. press, 3 Israeli generals came to Washington to discuss possible targets for the U.S. military.
Right.
But on August 30th, Dale Gavlak, who was a longtime reporter for an NPR in the Middle East, had a story in which they were interviewing in Ghouta, Syria, where people died. They were interviewing survivors who said that the weapons were provided by Prince Bandar to rebel fighters who were on his payroll, and they did not know what these weapons were when they fired them. And so they have the names, interviews of people, of Syrians, a part of the rebels, not part of the Assad regime, and who say it was not the regime. It was the Saudis who provided the rebels with these weapons, which they did not know what they were when they fired them. And the headline of the story says Syrians.
Do you mind if I interrupt for just a second? I would actually completely agree with your point here, and say that it would be absolutely pointless on the part of Assad to have done it. If there's a crime, you need to see who benefits from the crime, and it's certainly not Assad, because Assad militarily was doing quite well. So there's absolutely no reason. It all points into, even so we'll probably never get any proof, it all points to, as you mentioned, to Bandar, nickname Bandar Bush, because of his closeness to the Bush administration.
It just sounds like this is more Iraq. I mean, in so many ways it sounds like it's the same, hands that's got us into Iraq. It's the same, that Bandar, that Prince Bandar, he comes up all through it, and so does George Bush, always trying to inflame sectarian violence over there, and, they've done their job, a mission accomplished, and doesn't it seem like it's just more of that on one hand, but then on the other hand, you've got we have to do something, so I agree that he should threaten.
Well, why do we have to do something? I mean, what makes chemical weapons, poison gas, trigger the red line? Why are chemical weapons, poison gas, worse than weapons of mass destruction? For instance, the atomic bomb. Who sets this line? Who makes the standard? That's the question.
Well, the other thing I should say is the United States used chemical weapons extensively in Vietnam. Napalm is a chemical weapon. Of course, Agent Orange.
Are you talking about Roundup?
No.
No, I'm
napalm.
kidding. I'm sorry.
Napalm.
He's talking about
napalm,
Agent
napalm and white phosphorus, which turned humans into flaming torches. And the U.S. used white phosphorus in Fallujah, and today you have deformed babies being born. The situation in Fallujah is a horrible example of a war crime.
Exactly. You've seen those pictures.
If those warships are there, this is just an old lady rambling. But if those warships are there, shouldn't we have some kind of redefinition, a logical redefinition of what the word enemy means? I mean, shouldn't we have some clear-cut definition?
Well, the thing is,
well,
Syria is
first of all, Roseanne, when you were talking about what can be accomplished, Assad has had so much time, even if you look at it cynically, had so much time to move military unit and operation, possibly close to civilian targets, that there's no way there's going to be a massive amount of collateral damage, a massive amount of civilian kills, a lot higher than the 1,500 or so allegedly killed by the chemical attack. No?
And I mean, actually, Roseanne, I'm surprised that you say that you're pro the strike because you're so anti-war. I mean, this is uncharacteristic.
Well, I'm not really pro the strike. I'm pro if civilians are being gassed, somebody should do something to stop it. But I said the threat of just moving our our ships there, I can see why, there has to be some kind of answer, because that's how the military is when somebody does something, it's a chessboard, and they have to answer it. But, as far as firing any of them, I'm not quite sure about that, and I don't know who the hell we are supposed to fire at.
Roseanne, but if I am not a supporter of Assad, or any kind of dictators. I'm not an apologist for Assad. The United States has supported dictators for our entire history. There's an expression Franklin Roosevelt said about Somoza, Nicaragua. He may be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. And that's the way we look at dictators. If they obey us and if they follow our orders, we support them. We supported Saddam Hussein.
Well, don't we just put them in there according to, isn't there a CIA roster, and their name comes to the top, and then they're appointed to one of our client states?
Well, Saddam Hussein was assisted by the CIA.
What Jeff wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
The fact that not only we turn a blind eye on the use.
Oh, we're getting some feedback. We're getting some feedback.
Yes.
Did you move your body or something, Gilbert?
No, I haven't.
I hear feedback. Joe, what's going on with the feedback?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it sounds like you're probably out near a stereo or something. Or
are you near a stereo?
Another source?
No.
Okay, let's try it again.
I don't hear anything now.
Okay, Gilbert, are you there?
I hear everybody.
Yes, I am.
My question,
okay, now
let me simplify my question, and it is, isn't this just like this could blow the entire world sky high.
Exactly.
That's correct. This is, you.
Now that's more like it, Roseanne.
This is a Pandora's box, and I do not believe that Syria will attack Israel or that Iran will attack Israel. But one never doesn't know, because at a certain point, there's a wide world out there, and there's what is called false flag operations. Israel has done those. As a matter of fact, in 1967, when Egypt was being pounded and losing to Israel, the Israeli government pleaded with the government of Jordan publicly not to get involved in the war, but privately they had Arab-speaking Jews intercept Egyptian telephone conversations, communications to Jordan, and tell the Jordanians, hey, we're winning the war, come on in. The Jordanians thought they were talking to Egyptians. They joined the war. Israel then, when easily defeated the Jordanians, conquered the West Bank, and the rest is history, and it's with us today still.
I think American policy is like American policy over there, as it is, kind of everywhere now. It's just like a snake eating its tail. Do the American people forget that we have our hands working both sides of the street over there?
That's right.
If Bandar and his Saudi Arabian base or whatever work with the Bush family, what does all this really mean?
It means the American people in the world are being taken for a ride.
And also, we've created a huge mess.
The American people in the world are being taken for a ride.
Right.
Robert Fisk, the British journalist, wrote that what we are doing, if we attack Assad, we are again being on the side of